This story is about a soldier ordered to kill a deadly insurgent, only to find a scared, unarmed kid. Sergeant Cole stepped off the transport into a wall of smoke and scorched metal. The air still carried the aftershock of orbital bombardment ozone, burning polymer, blood. New Sutter Colony had been retaken 3 days ago, but it looked more like a wound than a victory. Charred structures jutted from rubble like broken bones, and the main road was clogged with wrecked crawler tanks and hastily stacked bodies wrapped in thermal sheeting. Cole adjusted his helmet, sealed his visor, and trudged past a cluster of Marines unloading from the next drop. One of them saluted sloppily and nodded toward the command tent at the center of what used to be a park. A flagpole jutted from cracked earth beside it. No flag. He found Commander Rourke hunched over a digital sand table, eyes hollow from too many caffeine tabs and not enough sleep. The old man barely looked up. "Sergeant Cole, you get the brief?" "No, sir. Orders said in person only." Rourke tapped a slate and handed it over. Cole's eyes scanned the directive. Execution order. Target. Detained rebel insurgent. Subject currently in custody. Clearance to be carried out immediately. No interrogation. Intel claims he helped rig the geothermal core. Killed 27. Could be lying, but command wants it clean. Cole frowned. "You want me to shoot a prisoner with no trial?" "He's not a prisoner, Cole. He's classified as an unregistered enemy combatant, under Section 9 protocol." Cole had heard that before. Too many times. Usually meant someone upstairs wanted deniability. "Where is he?" "Detention Sector 4. Temporary cells beneath the administration dome. Guard will let you in, just confirm the ID tag and get it done." Cole saluted. His knuckles cracked inside the armor as he turned. The march to the dome was short, but heavy. The wreckage around him whispered of mistakes, wrong turns, collateral damage. Civilian bodies had been pulled from several buildings. No one could say if they were rebel sympathizers or just unlucky. He pushed the thoughts away as he reached the dome. A young private with dust-streaked cheeks keyed open the reinforced door. Inside, it was cooler, dim light, humming consoles, 2 guards flanking a single metal cell. "You Cole?" one of the guards asked. "Yeah. Kid's in there, barely spoken since we found him, real quiet." Cole nodded, stepped closer to the cell, and scanned the ID plate bolted to the door. The digits matched the target code. He keyed the lock. The door hissed open. Inside, crouched against the far wall, was a boy. No older than 15. Unarmed. Dirty, clothes torn, hair matted with ash and sweat. His eyes flicked up and froze on Cole's visor. "Please," the boy rasped. "Please don't hurt me. I don't do anything." Cole felt something tighten in his chest. He took a step forward. The boy shrank away, arms up in a weak shield. "My name's Kieran," the boy whispered. "I was just running. I don't know anything about a bomb." Cole checked the slate again. The code matched. The picture was older, grainy, but the face was the same. "You were caught near the reactor site," Cole said flatly. "I was scavenging. My brother, he died there last week. I thought there might be food left." Cole stood silent. The kill order burned on his screen. Clear. Confirmed. No room for doubt. But there was doubt. Too much of it. "Stand up." Kieran hesitated, then obeyed slowly. He was trembling. "Turn around, hands behind your back." The boy did as he was told. Cole raised his sidearm. His finger hovered on the trigger. He saw smoke again, only this time from another mission, another dome. Another corpse, half a family vaporized because a 12-year-old had been flagged by a faulty facial scan. The screams from that day still surface sometimes, just before sleep. "God damn it," Cole muttered. He holstered the weapon. Kieran turned slightly. What are you doing?" Cole stepped forward, yanked the slate from the wall, and smashed it on the floor. The guards outside stirred. "Stay quiet," Cole called out. "False ID. It's a different kid. Reported as a misflag." Wait, what? One of the guards asked. That's the target, innit? No, not anymore. You got the wrong cell. He stepped out, face cold and flat. The guards exchanged glances. Orders changed, Cole lied. Transfer the kid to medical screening. Hez not our guy. Before they could question it, Cole turned back inside. Kieran was still frozen. You trust me? The boy nodded quickly, scared beyond comprehension. Good, because if we don't move now, they'll kill you. Cole grabbed a field pack from the emergency locker, tossed Kieran a worn jacket, and disabled the cell's tracker beacon. In 3 minutes they were gone, slipping through a half-collapsed utility shaft beneath the dome, just as a patrol unit stomped through the upper corridor. As they emerged into the sewers beneath the colony, Kieran looked back. Why are you helping me? Cole didn't answer at first. He adjusted the pack, checked his pistol, and scanned the tunnels ahead. Because someone should have helped you before. They moved through the underbelly of the colony for 3 hours before either of them spoke again. Kieran followed close behind, sometimes stumbling over shattered pipework or kicking loose rocks into the dark runoff below. Cole navigated by memory and instinct, aided only by a dim wrist light and the occasional faded maintenance marker. The map data he had downloaded before deleting the records was 2 years out of date. Enough had collapsed in the last few months to make every shortcut a gamble. You ever been down here before? Kieran asked, finally breaking the silence. Once. Evac drill when the rebels took the upper quadrants. Kieran hesitated. You fought them? Yeah. Cole didn't elaborate. They paused near a rusted junction node. Cole opened a panel and rerouted a cooling pipe to vent steam down a secondary shaft. The sudden plume gave them cover from an aerial drone sweep that buzzed overhead, barely audible through layers of concrete. That saved our lives, didn't it? Kieran said, eyes wide. Maybe. You just knew to do that? Cole sealed the panel. You learn things when your life depends on it. Kieran sat on a cracked service ledge while Cole checked the status of his beacon jammers. He'd brought 2 from the dome, both old models, barely worth the wait, but if the colony's new security perimeter was running standard scans, it might be enough to keep them ghosted for a little while longer. You said your name's Kieran. Got a last name? I don't remember. I used to think it was Durrell, but someone said that wasn't real. Cole raised an eyebrow but didn't press. He'd heard worse. War scrambled more than nerves. Identity, too, could be a casualty. They moved again. By the time they reached the abandoned checkpoint near Sector 6, the boy was limping slightly. Cole called for a rest inside what used to be a personnel depot. Half the roof was gone. The rest had buckled inward like a crushed can. Most of the supplies were either ruined or picked clean. But he managed to find a sealed water pouch and a heat pack that still activated. Kieran took a sip, then sat cross-legged on a chunk of debris. You from Earth? He asked. Cole nodded. Born in Indiana, grew up on the outskirts of St. Paul. What's it like? Cold. Green. Smells like old pine and burning leaves in the fall. You'd like it. Kieran looked down. I used to think the sky was supposed to be blue. It is, just not here. Silence settled again. The kind that made you aware of every creak and hum in your own bones. You know, Kieran said, you didn't have to save me. I know. Then why? Cole leaned back against a twisted beam. Because someone ordered me to kill you, and I've spent enough of my life following orders like that. They slept in shifts. Cole kept watch first, eyes half closed but senses sharp. Around the 3rd hour, something stirred in the corner of the depot. Kieran. The boy was moving in near silence, his steps almost feline. He wasn't going for food or the latrine corner, he was testing the door, then the far vent, then the side passage. Cole didn't move. Kieran didn't try to run. It was more like he was studying the exits. The kid had good instincts, too good. Cole didn't bring it up. Not yet. They kept moving at dawn. Smoke still drifted across the southern ridges, which meant artillery strikes had resumed overnight. The war wasn't over. It had just moved to new coordinates. By late afternoon, they reached a breach in the outer perimeter wall. It had once been a guard post, now half buried under a collapsed skimmer bay. From here, it was only a few clicks to the fringe line territory where the main scanners didn't reach, where deserters and ghost crews vanished. Cole had stashed a transport pod near there weeks ago, during recon. If it still worked, they could be gone before sunset. They climbed a ridge of slag and broken concrete. On the other side, silence stretched out over barren land. No patrols, no drones, just the long road to elsewhere. Cole raised his scanner. Ping. He froze. Another ping. Closer. He scanned the frequency. Kill beacon. Embedded. Active. Less than 3 meters away. You're in dead. The boy had stopped behind him. His shoulders were rigid. You feeling okay? Huron looked at him, confused. Then scared. Yeah, why? Cole drew his weapon, but didn't raise it. You're pinging. Internal beacon, not one I planted. Kieran blinked rapidly. I don't understand. Cole stepped forward. Where is it? What are you talking about? He raised the scanner again. The signal was pulsing stronger. Target lock. Military grade. Someone tagged you. Internally. That's not scavenger tech. That's embedded command grade tracking. Kieran stumbled back. I swear I don't know how. Take off your jacket, now. The boy hesitated. Do it. Kieran pulled it off, hands shaking. Cole swept the scanner over his torso. Nothing. Lift your shirt. Kieran obeyed. Still nothing. Cole moved to the right arm, then the left. The scanner flared. Upper tricep. Deep tissue. Foreign signal. How long have you had this? I don't know. I don't remember. Then start remembering. Kieran dropped to his knees, gasping, his eyes unfocused, like he was watching a memory that didn't belong to him. There were people, men with masks, needles. They said I'd help end the war, that I'd make a difference. Then it all went black. Cole dropped to one knee beside him, grabbed his shoulder. Focus. Do you remember a name? Kieran's breathing hitched. Operator Rel. That's what one of them called the man. He said I wasn't ready, that my mind kept slipping. They were angry. Then I escaped. I think I escaped. Or maybe I was released. Cole stared at the beacon readout. You weren't supposed to escape. You were planted. No, I didn't mean to. You were a Trojan. I'll choose this. Cole raised his sidearm. The boy stared down the barrel without flinching. I am not lying, Kieran whispered. I don't want to hurt anyone. I don't even know how. You do. You moved like a scout last night. You scouted our exits. You slipped out of the cell without a guard noticing. You knew to stay low when the drones passed. I didn't know why. I just felt it, like a reflex. Because it was trained into you. You were built for this. Kieran trembled, his voice cracked. Then why didn't I kill you when I had the chance? Cole didn't answer. Kieran reached into his jacket and pulled out a small blade. It was crude, made from a snapped beam filament. He held it up. Here, if you think I'm lying, use it. I'd rather die here than go back to whatever they made me. Cole stepped forward, still no fear in the boy's face. Only pleading. Only the kind of desperation that couldn't be faked. He holstered the sidearm. Turn around. Kieran obeyed. Cole pulled a med knife from his kit, scanned for the implant and made the incision. It was brutal and imprecise. The boy screamed through his teeth. Blood ran fast down his arm. Cole dug in, found the capsule, and yanked it free. He crushed it under his boot. The beacon died. Kieran fell to the ground, shaking and pale. Cole wrapped the wound and sat beside him. That thing was calling every drone in 100 miles. You just saved both our lives. Kieran looked up, vision swimming. Does this mean I'm free? No, Cole said. It means you get to earn it. Kieran gave a slow nod and passed out from blood loss. Cole caught him before his head hit the ground, checked his vitals, and started working. They still had hours of terrain to cross, but the mission had changed. He wasn't protecting a fugitive anymore. He was saving someone who had never been given a choice. Kieran slept for 12 hours, feverish and twitching under the salvaged thermal wrap. Cole kept the perimeter secured, rotating jammers every few hours, scanning for any sniffers or patrols that might have caught the beacon's last ping. Nothing yet. The implant had burned out clean. If command traced it, they'd expect a corpse. That might buy them another day. When Kieran finally stirred, it was with a startled gasp and a flinch. He looked around wildly until he saw Cole sitting cross-legged nearby, rifle across his lap. "You passed out," Cole said. Kieran nodded, eyes bleary. "Hurts like hell. Means you're still human. What's still up for debate?" Cole tossed him a protein bar. "Eat. You'll need your strength." The wound on his arm had been stitched with field mesh. Crude but functional. The skin around it was angry and swollen, but not infected. Not yet. Cole had used the last of his coagulant mist. If it turned septic, he'd need antibiotics. They didn't have. As Kieran ate, he stared into the dirt like he was afraid of what he might see if he looked up. "I don't remember everything," he said. "Just pieces. I think they erased most of it. Or maybe I forced it out." "What do you remember?" "Being in a white room. Cold. They put me through simulations, combat runs, infiltration drills. I wasn't alone. There were others. I think one of them snapped. They dragged her away." "How old were you?" "I don't know, 9, maybe 10 when they started." "Jesus." Kieran wiped his mouth. "I tried to forget. I wanted to believe I was just a scavenger, that my brother was real, that I had a life before the war." "You did," Cole said. "Even if someone else wrote it for you, you still lived it." Kieran looked at him. "You really believe that?" "I have to." They traveled mostly by night now, avoiding patrol routes and aerial scans. Cole led. Kieran followed without needing instruction. That was what gnawed at him. The boy had uncanny spatial awareness, glancing at intersections moments before Cole called them out, detecting footfalls that even the tracker boots couldn't pick up. Instincts drilled deep, behavioral patterns that couldn't be faked. But he never asked for a weapon, never questioned commands, and when Cole stopped to rest, Kieran rested. When Cole said move, he moved. On the 4th day, they reached the edge of what Cole called the dead zone. No signal traffic, no drones, no automated scanners. Just the husks of war, vehicles stripped and burned, helmets still resting where heads once were. They crossed through carefully, using the twisted wreckage for cover. "You trained kids before?" Kieran asked suddenly. Cole paused. "A few. Back in training camps. Not like you. But was it like structured? Voluntary? Most of them wanted to be there, had something to prove. And me? You were built to follow. You didn't choose this." Kieran nodded. "I want to learn how to choose." That night, they camped under the rusted skeleton of a downed shuttle. Cole set up a low-heat field burner and pulled out an old holochip. It flickered to life a quiet feed of earth forests, waterfalls, wind moving through trees. Kieran watched it like it was magic. "Is that real?" It was. Still might be in some places. "It looks so peaceful." "It is. But peaceful things break easily. That's why most of us leave." Kieran turned to him. "Why did you—" Cole exhaled. "I was good at what I did, and back then I thought that was enough." "What changed?" "A lot of people died. Some by my hand. Others because I waited too long to stop the wrong ones." Kieran went quiet. Later, as the fire dimmed, he pulled back the sleeve on his uninjured arm. A second scar traced a spiral near his wrist. "I think this was a trigger port. They could turn us on when they needed. I don't know if it still works." "You think there's more implants?" "I don't know." Cole leaned in. "Let me see." He scanned it with his diagnostic tool. A faint energy spike pulsed under the skin, low frequency, dormant. "This one's off, but it's there." Kieran swallowed. Do I pull it too? No, not yet. If it activates, we'll deal with it. But right now, it's a dead signal, like a mine that hasn't been stepped on. Cole stood. He walked a few paces away and stared into the night. You think I'm dangerous, Kieran said behind him. I think you were designed to be, but that doesn't mean you have to be. I'm scared I'll become what they wanted. You won't. Not if you keep choosing not to. In the morning, they found signs they were being hunted. A drone carcass, freshly disabled, still warm. Its processor was intact. Someone had cut it clean, harvested the data, and left it for bait. Cole recognized the pattern. Not rebels, not military. Something in between. He increased their pace, veering off the pre-planned route and into the storm basin west of Ridge 12. It was treacherous canyons carved by acid rain and tectonic drift, filled with echo chambers and sinkholes. This isn't on the map, Kieran said. Exactly, which means whoever's looking for you won't think to check it first. That night, Cole couldn't sleep. He sat by the edge of a ravine, rifle resting on his knees. Kieran joined him after a while. You think it's them? Cole nodded. Your creators. Or what's left of them. They'd kill you. Probably. You could still turn me in, say you completed the kill order, take a promotion. Not my style. Kieran looked down. If I lose control, if something in me switches back, promise me you won't hesitate. No, Waymai, because I don't want to train you to survive just so I can be the one to kill you. Kieran didn't respond, but the look in his eyes changed. Something deeper than fear. Something like loyalty. The next morning, their luck ran out. They were moving through the edge of a ruined substation when a tremor hit. Cole shoved Kieran down just as a bolt of plasma scorched the air behind them. Contact. 3 figures, unmarked armor, no lights, fast, silent. Cole returned fire and ducked behind a pile of crushed conduits. Kieran followed, but not in panic. He moved with intent, like he had been there before. How many? Cole asked. 3, flanking left and right, 1 above. Cole peered through his scope. Smart and quiet, not military. They're from your side. Kieran gritted his teeth. Then they're here to reclaim their asset. He pulled a flare rod from Cole's pack and twisted it open. The flash was bright and erratic, flooding the corridor with jagged light. It gave them 3 seconds. Cole moved right, Kieran dove left. The first agent tried to cut him off. Kieran vaulted a support beam and kicked him straight in the throat, hard enough to break the breather mask. The man went down, gasping. Cole dropped the second with a precise shot to the leg, then a burst to the chest, non-lethal. He wanted answers. The third was above, and fast. Cole saw her leap just as Kieran turned. Too late. The agent struck Kieran across the jaw, spinning him down. Then something shifted. Kieran's hands moved faster than sight. He rolled, kicked out her knee, caught her arm as she fell, and slammed her head into the wall. The fight was over in under 20 seconds. Kieran stood shaking, blood on his lip, eyes wide. I didn't mean to, I just reacted. Cole approached slowly. You did what you had to. He knelt beside the second agent and pulled the helmet off. Underneath, the man was no older than 20. A single tattoo marked his temple, the symbol of the Genesis Directive, Black Research Division, illegal bioengineering. Cole turned to Kieran. They weren't here to bring you back. Kieran nodded slowly. They were here to erase me. Cole helped him to his feet. From now on, he said, we go dark, off-grid, dead to both sides. And then what? Then we figure out what you want to be, not what they built you for. Kieran stared at the wreckage around them. Can I be something else? You already are. 2 months passed. The world stopped recognizing Sergeant Cole the day he burned his tags and torched the stolen dropship on the far side of the Yilkin expanse. No comms, no tracking, no connections to anyone who could drag him back into a war he no longer believed in. Just dust, heat, and a half-collapsed shelter buried under volcanic glass that he and Kieran had reinforced. brick by stolen brick. Cole wasn't a soldier anymore, not officially, not in body or in orders. But every sunrise he woke at 05, ran perimeter sweeps, checked traps, and drilled the boy until his hands were raw and his stance correct. "That grip again," Cole said, watching Kieran aim. "If your hand's too tight, your trigger pull's gonna drag." Kieran exhaled, relaxed his fingers, and fired. The can toppled clean off the log. "Better," Cole said. "Keep your elbow in." Kieran nodded, wiping sweat from his brow. His left arm was still bandaged from the last beacon removal, smaller this time, buried under the collarbone. They'd found it after a strange fever spike. The tool had jammed halfway through extraction. Cole had to cut it free with nothing but a vibroblade and instinct. "You good?" Cole asked. Kieran gave a small smile. "Hurts less than the last one." That was probably a lie, but it was how Cole used to answer too. Their days fell into rhythm. Repairing wind traps, reinforcing camouflage nets, reading old mission manuals by firelight, and repurposing them as ethics debates. "Page 72, Cole said once. "Triage prioritization. Who do you treat first when you're outnumbered and undersupplied?" "Whoever can still move," Kieran said. Not the worst answer, but not always right. Kieran tilted his head. "Then who?" "Depends what you're trying to save. The mission or the people?" Kieran was quiet for a long time after that. Sometimes he asked about Earth again, about parks and rivers and things with no tactical value. Other times he had nightmares and woke up swinging. Cole never blamed him. The ghosts didn't care about age. They didn't stay hidden forever. One night the sensor grid tripped. A subtle flutter in the perimeter net, too controlled to be an animal, too smooth to be a sand drift. Cole was already up and moving. Kieran followed, rifle steady. They spotted the flare sign, half buried in ash near the west ridge. A message, etched in numbers. 4 operatives inbound. No insignia, no flags, no transponders. A private execution squad. Cole knelt beside it, jaw tight. They want to finish what they started. Kieran stared down at the numbers. "They found me." "No, they found us." They had hours at most, enough time to run, but not enough to disappear again. "Options?" Kieran asked. "Fight, distract, or vanish. We can't win a straight shootout. They'll be fast, surgical. I can draw them off." "No, you trained me for this." "I trained you to stay alive." Kieran's eyes didn't blink. "That's not all." Cole stared at the boy. Not a soldier, not anymore, but something else now, something shaped by pain and choice and time. "All right," he said, "we do this smart." They laid traps. Scorch charges rigged to metal shrapnel, noise baits triggered by pressure plates. Cole mapped the terrain and angled kill zones toward narrow gullies where visibility dropped. Kieran watched and learned. Then, just before dawn, he handed Cole a microslate. "My beacon logs. Last transmission patterns. If they catch me, burn it and go." "You think I'd leave you?" "I think you might have to." Cole didn't take the slate. The first contact came with no sound, just the sharp flick of a flash suppressor discharge, searing through the rocks where Cole had stood seconds earlier. He dropped low and returned fire, driving the operative into the funnel trap. The charge detonated, shredding the path. One down. The second came fast, leaping through smoke and landing with surgical grace. Kieran intercepted, using momentum instead of strength, flipping the figure over and pinning its arm with a modified chokehold had taught him 2 weeks earlier. He snapped the elbow clean and rolled away before the scream finished. 2 down. The third circled wide, a sniper covering the ridge. Cole spotted the glint just as the trigger flashed. He dove, taking the hit in the shoulder. Not a clean wound, burning, deep. He dropped behind cover, biting back the pain. Kieran crawled beside him seconds later. "You hit?" "Not dead." Kieran checked the wound. "Through and through, bleeding fast." "You finish this. Go quiet. From the south." Kieran nodded. Don't die. No. He watched the boy vanish into the haze. 15 minutes passed. Cole fought to stay awake, clenching around the bandage he'd torn from his own shirt. Then he heard it. Not a shot. A scream. He forced himself up, half staggered over the rocks. Saw the last operative sprawled on the ground, motionless. Kieran stood over the body, hands shaking. I didn't mean to kill him. Cole reached him. You didn't have a choice. I still remember his voice. From one of the labs? Cole looked at the corpse. Same insignia, same cold protocol. You're not like them, Cole said. You chose to stop him. That's what matters. They buried the bodies far from the shelter. Cleaned the blood. Rewired the trip sensors. That night, Cole's fever climbed from the wound. Kieran forced fluids down his throat, changed the bandage, used every trick Cole had taught him. He worked without sleep. It took Cole 4 days to sit up on his own. When he did, Kieran was there with a weak grin and a bowl of protein broth. Still alive, Kieran said. Might be a sign of incompetence on their part. Or luck. Or stubbornness. Cole took the bowl, sipped. I'll give you one guess which one it is. After that, things changed again. They stopped counting days. They stopped flinching at every sound. Kieran smiled more. Cole didn't wake up screaming. And one evening, while watching the horizon through an old lens, Kieran said quietly, I think I want to help people someday. For real. Not with guns. With rebuilding. Then start here, Cole said. Plenty broken. They built stronger shelters, planted nutrient crops, started transmitting coded messages to survivors who might be out there, using a signal too scrambled to trace. A few came, shell-shocked, wounded, lost. Kieran met each of them at the edge of the valley, unarmed. Welcome, he would say. You're safe now. In time, the place grew. Not a base, not a camp, a refuge. The war dragged on in distant systems, always somewhere else. But people whispered of 2 ghosts out there. One a soldier who walked away from the line, and one a weapon who chose to never fire again. They said you could only find them if you were lost. And if you were, they might teach you how to become something more.